Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Production channel here at YouTube, and welcome to, of course, another Friday review. Today, of course, I am reviewing, if you can believe it or not, the debut full-length album from cult US-based heavy power metal band Glacier, and the album is titled The Passing of Time, which was released through No Remorse Records on October 30th. Now, before I really get into, of course, the new album, again, I do have to also bring up that I can't believe I never reviewed their EP, their classic self-titled 1985 EP as a part of US Power Metal Month that I did many years ago. I can't believe I never did. So, again, for all of you who may not be familiar with Glacier, they are based out of Portland, Oregon, and they were formed in 1979. And of course, again, they released their eponymous debut self-titled EP in 1985, which was originally released through Axe Killer Records. Of course, it's been reissued a few times already, or actually 2 times already, through, of course, Cult Metal Classics some years ago, especially last year. It got reissued again. So, that was their debut full-length EP, and of course in 1990 they had split up, but in 2016 they pretty much had reformed, or at least a new lineup. As far, I don't know, it might have been a new formation of a Glacier. I can't completely at least be for sure. I know I can look already right here. Yeah, I think that might be correct. But apparently it got reformed in 2016 under the name Devil in Disguise, which is actually taken from one of the song titles off the EP. And of course that lasted until 2018, and they are pretty much just under Glacier ever since. So that's where it now finally leads to, of course, their new album. And as far as the lineup, it's definitely a bit of a newer lineup. There's only one original member left, and that is original singer Michael Pedribao, if I had pronounced that last name right. I know I had apparently that this is not the first time I'm doing this take. I had to, again, it's not very easy, I guess, to kind of for me to actually say his last name, but I might have got it right. Pedribao. There you go. That is the original singer, and again, he is the only original member left in the band. It's all new guys. So without further ado, let's get into, of course, The Passing of Time from Glacier. Alright, so before I really get into any of my thoughts on this album, let's definitely do a track listing rundown. This, of course, consists of 8 songs. Of course, if you had gotten the pre-ordered vinyl copy of the album, it would have came with I guess a flexi disc, or it's a 7-inch. I think it's just a 7-inch. And when it contains a extra track called Raise the Fist. And I can't find that track apparently online to actually listen to. So I'm just focusing on the original 8 songs here. And with these 8 songs, it all clocks in at 40 minutes and 40 seconds. So these 8 songs are, of course, Eldest and Truest, Live for the Whip, Ride Out, Sansa Time, Valor, Into the Night, Infidel, and The Temple and the Tomb. So there is your 8 songs here, and as far as my thoughts, the fact that it took this band this long to actually release their very first full-length album is quite surprisingly, because again, in many ways it does follow the same pattern and the same formula of the original EP, but just with more, I guess, modern production, but it still has a good straight-up metal feel to it. It still sounds, at least, again, it still has that feel and overall aura of the EP, but again, it's not as raw sounding as the EP, but that's definitely should come to no surprise when you're definitely recording in, of course, in the at least the 2000 or the 2010s, especially again with this style modern recording, but still has a heavy feel. Again, very much not far from, of course, what you expect from either Judas Priest or Saxon, or even modern day Striper, except, you know, it's not. It's definitely in that same sort of idea, and recording wise and guitar tone wise, it's all great. And as far as the band, they're just firing on all cylinders on all of these songs. This is just great. Again, it's just still, it retains that classic, very, very melodic still. It still has a bit of those power metal aspects to at least the feel of the album. And again, just straight up classic traditional metal, but again, it definitely sounds fresh in some ways too. It just sounds great, and Michael Pedrybao, he absolutely sounds fantastic on this album. He definitely sounds like he hasn't missed a beat over the decades. He just sounds great. So it just screams straight up classic US metal. It's just fantastic. But enough talking about at least the album itself. Let's get into some songs. Let's get into some songs, and I've picked out highlights. I'm not going to talk about every single song on the album. I might mention here a few, but still, I picked out the highlights that at least did for me, that make the album for me. So with that, let's get into at least the highlighted songs. Eldest and Truest, again, it opens up the album and does a great job of getting the album on the road. It's a great opener. Again, it does have a Saxon feel to the track. Very much modern era kind of Saxon, but good modern era Saxon. This is a good song and a good way to open up the album. What follows up is Live for the Whip, and it just continues the driving metal of the opening track. Has plenty of twin guitar leads. That's another thing. That you get plenty of that twin guitar attack on this album. It's fantastic. Again, even a little bit of Thin Lizzy and Iron Maiden style twin guitar attack and shit. It's fucking great. So there's of course a Live for the Whip. Right Out. Oh my god. It contains the same amount of that galloping epic style metal that definitely made bands like Warlord and Fate's Warning great in the beginning. Just a great fucking track. Finally, let's get into Sansa Time, which is probably my personal favorite off this album. And good lord, we finally have a proper version of this obscure gem. Apparently, a instrumental, or it's a rehearsal instrumental version that I think that has only existed. I don't know if it ever was truly finished. I don't know if the version that the rehearsal instrumental version is the version that was used as a bonus track on the reissue of their self-titled 1985 EP. But if it isn't, and it is somewhat more of a finished version with the original guys, let me know. But this is, and right now, this feels like this is the most proper version that we've finally got of this song. Good God, this track just draws the spirit of classic Queensryche. This could have easily been on the EP, or at times on the Warning. It's got that same feel. I mean, Glacier, you could compare Glacier to at times Queensryche. You could compare them to at times early Fate's Warning. You could compare them at times even to Warlord. They're definitely in that same vicinity of bands. It's definitely great. So it's definitely one of the best songs off this album. It's a phenomenal track. Finally, after, of course, Valor, which is a good song in its own right, we then get Into the Night. Again, after the previous 5 tracks, which were more melodic, more mid-paced stuff, this here is a kick in the ass and puts the album into a high velocity range. It just goes fast. And it's definitely a fucking good song. Oh my god. Into the Night just rips. It tears right through. Just a great song. Then, of course, following up is Infidel, which tones the speed a bit, but it is a fine galloping tune in the vein of Iron Maiden. And that's definitely some Iron Maiden comparisons. Again, they're in that same kind of vicinity when it comes to writing. Again, who at this point in the 1980s, who wasn't influenced by Iron Maiden? You can draw comparisons to Iron Maiden and bands like, of course, Warlord, and bands like, of course, Fate's Warning, and bands like Queensryche. And so at Glacier, you get that, but they do it in a way that isn't completely copying Iron Maiden. It works, and it's a good song. It's got some originality. It's a good song nonetheless. Finally, we end the album with, of course, the Temple and the Tomb, and it's another great Queensryche-inspired number, but it also, again, it mixes in some speed here and there to kind of make the song pretty original. It's also the longest song on the album. It clocks in at 6 minutes and 35 seconds. But in many ways, they're mixing a little bit of that, again, just that same quality writing that made Queensryche great in the beginning, but they definitely add their own touches in by adding some more speed metal elements into at least the song that drive it and to definitely in more of their liking. And it's just a good song. Temple of Tomb is a great way to end the album. What a good ending. So there you go. There is, of course, the passing of time from Glacier, my rating, to at least to reflect my honest opinions on this album. It's a 9.85 out of 10. I mean, not every song I feel is a complete winner. I mean, Valor is okay, and Infidel is just fine. But still, the songs that make it for me is still enough to kind of where I feel like bumping it up to at least a 9.85 out of 10, because again, this is a fantastic record. If I had heard maybe if the song Raise the Fist was at least was really on the album itself and was an actual original song, who knows, maybe it is a really good song. Maybe it would have even bumped it up to an 100. I don't know. That's just my honest opinion on the album, but still, what we got here is still fantastic. This is that for a long-awaited debut album, this hits all the fucking points in many ways for at least a good, long-awaited debut album should do. It hits all those high points. It does great. It is very much worthy of being almost, again, part of the best of the 2020 so far. It at least best album of the year. It is worthy of being in the top of that kind of list. It is worthy of it. So yes, this is a great album. Again, if you've heard this album, again, it's been out since October 30th. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. If all of you at least have heard The Passing of Time. But if you haven't, what the hell are you doing? Go and check out this album. If you like just good, solid, traditional metal, or just straight up good heavy metal in general, go out and grab this album. It's been out since October 30th. You can probably grab it again at No Remorse Records. You can grab it at least Amazon. You can probably grab it on Discogs. You can grab it at any or distros that you go to. I think most of the distros that you follow should at least have The Passing of Time on Glacier. It should. So, it's a great album. So with that, I hope you all enjoyed it. This is Thrash Sam out. And I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.